This episode of The Reasons I'm Broke is brought to you by Audible.
Sign up today and get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/nerdupmedia.
There's over 150,000 titles to choose from, all available on your Android device, Kindle, and iPhone.
Enjoy the show. Hello and welcome to the Reasons I'm Broke podcast, bringing you the reasons we're broke, ranging from comics, movies, TV, video games, and more. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Kelly.
And welcome to episode number 124.
Woo!
Almost to 125, almost to Mewtwo.
Yes. Really?
Yeah, almost. Mewtwo's 150, you got Mew in 151, and we're not going to count the rest, right?
Well, no, we gotta count... Well, not anything after that. Everything before that, yes. Who's number 125?
I don't know.
Let's consult the Poké-Droid.
Pull up the Pokedex.
Poké-Droid.
While she's doing that, for any new listeners out there, the format of the show goes, we cover some news first, and then we jump into the comics for the week, reviewing the books. We usually have a pick of the week and a pass of the week. We mainly review DC Comics, although this week we only have 4 books, which is very good on our wallets.
Electabuzz.
Electabuzz on 125, that's awesome.
Yeah, we had Jinx last week. Come on, this could have been like so many opportunities.
I love Electabuzz. I even like Electivire, the evolved form of him.
Who?
Electivire.
What? Electabuzz
when you used to play
evolves?
the Pokemon card game, he used to be your main guy.
I thought we just said we weren't going past 151.
Okay, fine. We're not going to go past it.
Okay.
So wait, is 151 our final episode?
Yeah, that's it. There's no more Pokemon after that, so we can't. That'll be like 3 years. That's a good run.
It is a while. So the first bit of news we have here is actually some movie news, and then we're going to jump into television, kicking off with Astro Boy, who will be receiving a live-action feature film. Mm-hmm.
Previous feature movie was 2009's computer animated movie.
I actually saw that in theaters.
Really? And?
I thought it was all right, actually. I enjoyed it. I remember there was no one in the theater with us. It was just me and my friends, maybe a couple of other people here and there.
Sounds
but
sexy.
It was a flop. Absolutely a flop. Did not do well, and I think it was either that or Speed Racer at the time that had an animated show to go with it. And I remember that also didn't last very long. And I like Astro Boy a lot. The video game for the Game Boy Advance, which is actually one of the best games on the Game Boy Advance, I believe was actually based on the movie or the TV show, one of the two. Mm-hmm. But it was the side-scrolling video game where you used Astro Boy's various powers, his lasers, and even like his punching abilities and defeated enemies. And it was actually amazing. Like, if someone were to ask you, like, what's the best adapted video game, that has to be in the top 10.
Oh, wow.
That Astro Boy game for Game Boy Advance. I don't know if they ever brought it out again on Virtual Console for the Wii or the Wii U, or even on the 3DS, but it is absolutely a must-buy. If you can find that, absolutely get it. It's such a good game. Even near the end of the game, after you beat it, you actually end up getting a terrible ending where you don't end up saving the world. And that's when someone says, no, actually, we're going to send you back in time and you have to fix these points in the story.
And then you go back and you play it again?
And you play it again with your super-powered self.
That's
and then
so cool.
Destroy enemies way easier and the bosses are nonsense to you. It's so fucking amazing. Astro Boy, Game Boy Advance. But back to the movie, live action. The last live action animated one was based on an anime, was Dragon Ball Z Evolution.
No,
and
what?
That didn't take.
That what?
Exactly.
That was a movie?
Yeah, so when describing the character, producer Zare Nalbandian said, we actually see him in the same league as Iron Man.
They got some high hopes.
They certainly do. I guess they kind of have to, right? They have to promote this as a big thing.
If you're going to do that, then you might as well be like, he's in the same league as Batman. Like, let's go all out if we're going to go all out and tell lies.
Let's not stop at Iron Man. People do describe Astro Boy as kind of like a robotic Pinocchio story.
Okay.
Although he did debut way before Pinocchio.
Mm-hmm. And
yeah, it was very big anime, and I guess they keep trying to revive it. And feature film, like, I feel like that CGI route was the right way to go. It just did not stick when it came out.
Right.
So they're going with I don't know what I don't think this is gonna work, to be perfectly honest.
We'll see. We're just hearing about it. We haven't seen anything. So I said the Constantine show was gonna be horrible, and look where we are now.
Our favorite DC anime or DC show. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I will hold. I mean, I'm not the one to talk. I don't know anything about Astro Boy. I'm sitting here like, yeah, it'll be great. It'll be awesome.
He's got cannons that come out of his ass.
Ass
true.
cannon.
Yeah, he shoots out of his asshole.
That's awesome.
It's very awesome.
Good for him.
It's one of the attacks in the Game Boy games.
I hope he doesn't get a boyfriend.
Why? Oh.
That could be dangerous.
Moving on to television news.
This is the podcast we present, everyone.
This week, the Daredevil Netflix trailer released.
Yes, this will be starring David Cox as Matt Murdock, alongside Deborah Ann Wool as Karen Page, Scott Glenn as Stick, and Vincent D'Onofrio as the Kingpin.
So we saw the trailer. What'd you think?
Again, not another character that I know a lot about. I'll hold off judgment.
Did you see the movie?
I did not.
Wow, that's surprising.
Why is that surprising?
Daredevil came out right after the huge Spider-Man hype, the movie. It was such a success that Daredevil actually took a bunch of influence from the Spider-Man movie in the way that he swung from the buildings and some of the story parallels as well. And everyone jumped right onto Daredevil because superhero movies were awesome again. And Spider-Man did that, and Daredevil was one of those things that everyone was like, okay, this is my next fix. Plus, that Evanescence song was all over the place. And
Bring Me to Life.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I remember that. I only saw the Spider-Man movies because my best friend was in love with them, and she was always like, Mom's going to pay for us to go to the movies. Let's go to the movies. And I'm like, okay, we're going to the movies. But I never really liked those old Spider-Man movies.
That's understandable.
Tobey Maguire was just... I did not like him.
You said before you don't like his face.
Yes, I don't like... And he was just like, oh, my life. And I'm like, just stop whining and wash your hair. Please, just do something, because you were not attractive at all. But I do remember that trailer with the song. Mm-hmm. That's all I remember.
So going into it for you, Daredevil is just kind of like, okay, a Netflix show.
I know her from know him from the She-Hulk comic.
Yeah, he's a lawyer.
He's blind, I know that.
Every single episode will release on Netflix on April 10th, so they're going to do it very similar to House of Cards and the rest of the Netflix original shows.
Orange is the New Black.
Which is what they're calling this also, an original Netflix production, Daredevil.
If this ends like the last episode of Season 2 of Orange is the New Black, perfect. Run over somebody with your car. Spoilers! If nobody's finished watching that yet. Sticking with some television news, according to reports of a leaked pilot script to TNT's The Titans television series. That was a lot of tease.
It is a lot of tease.
That's a lot of tease. The members of the team have been revealed.
I do want TNT, when they make commercials for the Teen Titans, they need to make some clever animation where the TNT logo forms into the Titans logo.
That'd be so... I mean, it's perfect. You got 2 T's and an N in there. Mm-hmm. So it just needs to, like, swap and separate, and it's perfect.
Most of the budget goes towards that.
Yeah. Magical. So excited for this now.
So the team has been revealed. According to Nerdist, the Titans will consist of Hawk and Dove, Barbara Gordon, best known as Batgirl, of course, Starfire, yes. Raven, and Nightwing.
He's got 2 ladies there he can love on.
So you're saying Raven and Dove?
No. No. Starfire or Barbara. And then they need to fight over him. And there's going to be like a whole little section of some season where the team's fallen apart because they both want Robin and he can't decide because he likes boys.
So we don't know yet if Barbara Gordon will be the Oracle or if she will eventually get paralyzed while the show continues. So that's what I'm more interested in. If she starts off as an Oracle or someone already in the wheelchair and then turns into the Titans sort of tech operative, I think that'd be awesome.
I would see her starting off as Oracle because I don't think that... Nightwing you can kind of separate from Batman. Batgirl you can't. Make sense?
Yeah. Also, I don't think that they'll retell that Joker shooting her story from the Killing Joke. I don't think it would fit with this Titan show, especially if they're already trying to use him in Suicide Squad. And that's one reason they're actually not putting Cyborg in the Titans show, because he's already going to be in Batman v Superman and the Justice League films, although Flash is already going to be in, he has his own show and he's going to be in the Justice League movies, but I'm sure they're trying to avoid some of that. Although even in the comics, Cyborg is now a Justice League member and no longer a part of the Teen Titans.
I could see they start out with Barbara, and then maybe after the whole conflict with Starfire and Nightwing, when Nightwing eventually chooses Starfire, she's like, yo, I gots to get out, I'm gonna go to college, and then Cyborg can show up, and then Beast Boy can show up so he can be with Raven, right? And then we can lose Hawk and Dove.
Well, according to the pilot, we don't have a Beast Boy yet.
We should.
But I think we will eventually see him as the season progresses. Maybe he'll join the team.
He would be a lot of work to animate, though.
That's true.
Because they got to do, like, multiple different animals all the time.
They would have to do it like Animorphs, where the actor would step behind the pillar and then they would cut to, like, an animal coming out from the other end just to save on money. He's not even green or red or anything like that. It's just the animal itself.
Just a regular animal. I would rather them just, like, cartoon animal where he should be. Not even pay money to make it look realistic.
Maybe they'll cheaply CGI it. That's going to be cheaper than that. Yeah, that'll be cheaper than training an animal. Like, get an animal trainer to come in with, like, a cheetah or something.
You just need to draw it on construction paper and put it on a popsicle stick.
If they had the balls to do that, I'd be like, okay, that works, fine.
Greatest show ever.
Let's do it. That's Beast Boy. Hawk and Dove, do you care?
Not really.
I don't care either. But they have...
only if they're fabulous.
I think the anchor of the show is going to be Nightwing.
Of course.
Nightwing... Oh, do you know who Hawk and Dove... Okay, Rob Liefeld made a career out of doing some Hawk and Dove comics.
Okay.
I don't know if you knew that.
No.
So now some Rob Liefeld is going to be in your television life.
Oh, no.
But Nightwing is the big one here. They could have put any other members around him. That doesn't matter. Nightwing is a brilliant marketing thing. Kids like Nightwing, young adults like Nightwing, even people our age, many of them do like Nightwing. It's just a cool looking character. He's got a cool name. I don't really see what people are seeing on television that they see Nightwing. I mean, the last thing was Young Justice Invasion, and that was only an episode or a season or two. Not enough where I would say, okay, that justifies people liking the character so much. But they're gravitating towards him, as well as Deathstroke. I had a little girl. She was maybe 5 or 6, and she pointed at a Harley Quinn statue, and she's like, Harley Quinn! Yes. I was like, how the fuck do you know about Harley Quinn, little girl?
Good for her, because she's got great parents.
That's probably it. They're showing them something with Harley Quinn in it, and it continues. So these kids are still going to like Harley Quinn years from now, and Nightwing, all these other guys. But yeah, Nightwing is a character that they absolutely can merchandise off of. People will tune into the show just for him. And if the show is popular enough, they could always do a spin-off Nightwing series. That's one character that probably can support being in 2 different shows.
I would agree with that. I am so excited for Starfire. You have no idea. I can't... She's one of my favorite characters. She was my favorite from the Teen Titans show. And I can't wait to see how they're going to portray her in this live action. Because in the comics, she doesn't wear a whole lot of clothes. And
the New 52 especially, yeah.
Right. And I'm pretty sure that they would not go that route, especially if they're trying to market towards children. So this opens up a whole new cosplay possibilities for me.
So you're going to turn into TNT's Starfire?
Yeah, why not? I gotta see what she wears first, if it's cute. If I have to do too many push-ups and sit-ups, maybe not.
So absolutely way off on Hawk and Dove. It was made their first debut in 1968, created by Steve Ditko and Steve Skietz. So way before Liefeld even did his Liefeld thing. But I know he definitely worked on the characters in the New 52. And it was a shitty book.
Well, hopefully this show can revamp them.
Hopefully. We're obviously not going to see them in any kind of movies or anytime soon. So if the show thinks they can do something new with them, by all means, let's go ahead and do that. As we did say, we don't have much in the way of news this week. I told people on Twitter. So I did call on Brokettes out there if they wanted to hear what we wanted to discuss this week before we jumped into comics. And we did have a suggestion and a question from Twitter user and longtime listener at The Irish on Fire. He wants to know what we think about the trend of remakes in gaming and movies. This is a spin-off from when we were talking about Final Fantasy VII and how he was wondering, like, hey, why they should be coming out with this. And we were kind of going back and forth on how a remake would work if they were to make a Final Fantasy VII game. And yeah, it kind of turned into this discussion about movies and gaming kind of redoing things, especially something like Capcom. They're re-releasing Resident Evil again. So it is something that is obviously very present and something that gamers and moviegoers are saying they run out of ideas because look at all these remakes. What are your thoughts on this?
I am for it. When they make all these great games, for example, Resident Evil 4 is a great game and you love it. But now we have new technology. We can make it better. We can make it smoother. And now you just get to replay it better. I mean, I can't think of any other word to use for that. But Pokemon Snap. Everybody knows that I want another Pokemon Snap. Mm-hmm. Well, now we have the Wii U technology. So you bring it back, and I'm using an actual camera to supposedly take pictures of these Pokemon. So I think it's great. Even with movies, you can make them look better.
Right, and something that I do want to clarify, when they remake a movie or a video game, if it turns out that the new version ends up being shitty, that doesn't mean that your old one has been ruined.
Right.
Like this nonsense that people spew about your childhood being ruined, it's always going to be there.
They don't go back in time and destroy the previous thing.
Yeah, that was, I want to say Cameron Stewart that made that amazing comic that I retweeted of his Ghostbusters video. He's like, no, they ruined Ghostbusters. And then he looks at his poster and it's disappearing. He goes to his shelf, he pulls out the Blu-ray and that's disappearing in his hands. And he's like, no! Yeah, you've got your old stuff you will always enjoy untouched unless it's Star Wars. It's always going to be there. And I don't see it as them running out of ideas. There's so many viewers and so much content that goes out all the time. And people do want new content faster than ever. Because we do have access to all kinds of videos and gaming and photos, everything at our fingertips, in our pockets, on these computers that are getting faster and faster and easier to access. So obviously they have to put out way more content, one, to keep up with the demand, but two, so that they can actually fucking make money. So if all of Hollywood was just remakes and nothing more, I could sort of see an argument for it.
Right.
But we're seeing remakes and we're seeing original content. If you don't believe that, check out any type of indie festival. You'll see all kinds of up-and-coming filmmakers there. Even the big Hollywood hitters like Taken. Like that was, 7 years ago, and we hadn't seen anything quite like it.
Right.
No movie idea is original, but it's original in the way that they execute it and they bring it back out. Or the way that they tell their story that's original and entertaining. If you can do that, more power to you.
Well, the thing about these movies that they're remaking, they told amazing stories, but you have to update it for the times that we're in now. So, for example, Dirty Dancing. I've never seen either of them, but I would imagine that in the newer one, it fits more with what we're living in today. So it now appeals to younger people today, and now that's not Dirty Dancing, Footloose.
Okay. Well, I think there was a Dirty Dancing, actually.
There was Dirty Dancing, but no. I like Dirty Dancing. I don't like Footloose.
Okay.
Because of Kevin Bacon's face. Yes. But I would imagine that the newer Footloose is now somebody's Footloose, because they relate to it like everyone did with the older Footloose. Whereas people today wouldn't relate with the older Footloose because, I don't know, they don't have cell phones or something. I never see them.
Yeah, and I don't feel like they have to always bring that back. And when it is uncalled for and unnecessary, that's when the movie just doesn't do well. And that's the message, like, hey, they're voting with their dollars. They don't want to see a remake to, whatever it is, and maybe Footloose or whatever.
If they put Kevin Bacon in it, no way.
So I can obviously always vote with your dollar. Don't immediately turn down any kind of remake that they announce. It's not always a bad thing. Like, look at The Fly. The Fly from the 80s was way better, and that was a remake with Jeff Goldblum. Way better than the original. Granted, the original, the guy wore like a fucking fly head and had a human body.
That's an example of technology got updated. So now we can tell the story the way that it should have been told.
Technology got updated. The story got updated.
Jeff Goldblum was born.
Hell yeah. He threw up on a guy's hand. And just dissolved it, and the guy's like, ah! Like, he almost passed out from watching his hand dissolve. And I remember as a kid, I was like, ah! Like, it disturbed me. But as an adult, I'm like, that was such a fucking awesome scene. And the special effects, some of them do still hold up today. Like that, the makeup effect where he's deteriorating and he pulls out his fucking tooth. Have you ever seen that movie?
No.
It's a pretty disgusting movie, but it's entertaining.
There's a lot of movies I haven't seen.
The Fly should be, it was before your time.
Yeah, okay. Because I'm that much younger than you. I married an old man, guys. Robbing the cradle over here.
I think, what about gaming? Do you think that's a little more forgiving in terms of the consumers when they see, hey, we're re-releasing this game?
Oh, I think so. Majora's Mask, anybody?
Perfect example. It's coming right up and people are very excited for it.
I was at work the other day and we were all sitting in the break room and some person, knows that we have the podcast and I play video games and they go, are you getting Majora's Mask? And I said, well, I never played the old one. And they go, it was amazing. I'm so excited. I'm still looking for the 3DS. I'm like, nah, you're not going to get that, sir. And I'm still looking for the limited edition game. Nah, you're not going to get that, sir. And they went on, and then it drew other people in who were also excited for it. And it's a remake of a game that they already have, but they cannot wait to have it updated and on a system they have now and just to relive that childhood experience.
Yeah, I agree. Another great example, and that's one that you still have to jump in, but you're still playing the old one that we're not even getting into it yet. Kingdom of Hearts.
Yes, Kingdom Hearts. Say it right.
Kingdom of Hearts.
No, Kingdom
2.5.
Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts.
That's another game. They'll re-release that, and they'll bring out all kinds of tie-ins that people will continue to buy.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, just give us Kingdom Hearts 3 already. It's like, why? Why, when they can continue to make these spin-off games on these other systems that these people will continue to buy and pick up?
I'll tell you this right now. If next year, not even, if later this year, they release Kingdom Hearts 1.75, I will buy it.
And then they can do 2.75.
Exactly. I will buy it.
2.8.
They can be like, we didn't even add anything. We just change something in the credits. I'll buy it.
They'll throw in a Disney pin, a limited edition thing, and
I'd buy
if
it.
they want it to sell well, that's what they'd do.
I'd buy it. Done.
Yeah, so
or the Pokemon games.
Another one.
They will probably, if they re-release Yellow, done. Just done. Here's my money. They could be like, it's $100. Here is my money.
And Pokemon Omega Ruby and Sapphire, that's another one, big hit. So I think remakes will always be a part of the gaming world.
Of course.
Something like The Last of Us has already been sort of remade. It came out on the PS4 again with slightly better graphics, some extra missions.
And people bought it.
They did. If you didn't get it on... Even people that had... I remember when I worked at GameStop, people traded in their PS3 version of Last of Us and picked up the PS4 version of it. So they did the same thing with Grand Theft Auto. They got all the new features in the new Grand Theft Auto 5 for the PS4, and they're like, yeah, let me get that again. So yeah, the game cost you $120, but clearly you did not care. You wanted this game, and people will buy remakes, and they'll support them way more in the gaming community than they will in movies.
Agreed. Dead Space. If they ever remake that, bought, purchased, done.
Needs to be done because Dead Space was such a good series, and then just slowly it just... I don't know. I don't know what happened.
There was a second Dead Space?
We liked the second one because that's the one where he finally was able to forgive Nicole.
Nicole,
yeah.
I hated that woman. I'm
glad
she died. Spoilers.
You liked Isaac so much.
I did, especially at the end of the first one where he takes off his mask and you go, holy shit, this is who I've been this whole time? Just made him that much deeper.
It's very much like Metroid. The very first Metroid, when you think it's a robot or a man inside a suit, and then you beat the game and Samus takes off her helmet and it's this, you just see this long hair and it's a lady. It's like, oh, I was playing as a woman the whole time.
What would you do if you saw the long hair and it turned around? It was like some bearded guy.
I played as Christ. He came back too late. He's in the future. Metroids have overrun the planet.
The Metroid of Christ. Somebody
Prime Christ. Oh, that would be an awesome game. But yeah, it's it would be awesome. But yeah, it was very much like that because you finish that space and he takes off his helmet and it's just like this crusty old man. It's just
He wasn't crusty.
He was crusty.
He was still pretty good looking.
No, they made him good looking in the second one. How soon you forget? He wasn't that good looking, and then in the second one, they darkened his hair a little bit, gave him a facelift.
He used some breast implants too. I don't know. Okay, granted, in the first one, he had just finished a week-long awake the whole time fighting zombies, wondering where his girlfriend was. I still wish that there had been one of those memorable necromorphs that was his woman, and you realize in the second one that you actually killed her. Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Remember when they sort of did that in the Wii game, in which you're going insane, so the character is running around killing all these They're called necromorphs for anyone that hasn't played Dead Space. It's like a scarier version of a zombie because it infects the dead body, and they're actually like aliens that infect the body, and they actually spread the muscles and the bones of the body and turns them into weapons. So their shoulders and their arms suddenly become like these long spikes, and they'll throw their heads at you, and it's a very creepy, messed up version of a zombie. They're quicker, they're faster, they don't die when you shoot them in the head. And in the Wii game, like, this guy's going insane. He's seeing all these people infected, and he's shooting them. And then when they finally take him down, they realize, like, this guy just went nuts, and he was just killing people. So all the people that you were shooting in that whole opening sequence, they were all just innocent guys. And, and we were both really, like, impressed. Like, holy shit, this is kind of what we wanted to happen in the first couple of Dead Spaces. So yeah, it was awesome. Dead Space, remake it. Going back to the point, it needs to be done.
Yes, it does.
Love that series.
Pokemon Snap needs to be remade too. Do you know how great it would look? Oh man, if they made them look like actual real life, and I mean Pokemon, but real.
So you want to see them with fur?
Yeah.
So you don't like the 3D models you see now?
It's cool, but how much cooler would it be if like you actually saw this frog-looking Bulbasaur come out?
It would. People would not react well to that, and including me, because I want to see Bulbasaur as Bulbasaur. I like frogs, and I like a plant on a frog that they call a Bulbasaur. Fine, but I want to see actual motherfucking Bulbasaur. I don't want to see like a tree frog with a bulb on his back.
Well, they need to recreate Pokemon Snap.
You've been watching too much DeviantArt.
I have, well, yeah, probably. A lot of Pinterest.
Where they put like that realistic coughing, and it's like a skeleton with smoke, and it's like, that's not a realistic coughing.
So cool.
It's not what that is. And
so cool.
They just call it realistic.
Pikachu's like this mouse thing. I would own one.
I saw one with the like realistic Pikachu, and it looks more like a Raticate because it has the teeth like coming out. And I'm like, that's a fucking Raticate.
That's a Raticate.
That's not a mouse.
That ain't no Pikachu.
So those were our brief thoughts on what we thought of the current remakes.
Brief thoughts 20 minutes later.
Well, most of the podcast, yeah, I guess so.
Down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. We got a lot of coffee.
We do. And honestly, that is actually it for news. It was a very slow week. We caught up on television and everything, but as far as the movie news, there wasn't anything substantial. Like, not even clickbait sites like Latino Review had anything out like, oh, Batman v Superman, this may happen in the end. Nothing of that sort even. Like, nothing. That's what I was going to do. I was going to bring up some old story about how someone's got this exclusive source that they can't name, but told them that they may possibly have this post-credits thing. Nothing like that even came up.
Everyone just took a nap all week. A siesta.
Everyone was on break. I don't know what happened. But yeah, a couple of things, like we said, the Netflix trailers. Hopefully we'll have something big come up next week. I know a lot of people... Oh, that is something I do want to talk about, because now I just remembered I didn't add it to the notes. A lot of people thought that the Batman v Superman trailer was going to release during this year's Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And it's some rumor that one afternoon someone released this really bad image of like the official... I think it was like an NFL site. And it has the trailer, but it said Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice, and it had like this loading thing because they hadn't aired it yet, so you couldn't see it yet, but they had somehow accidentally released it, and someone had loaded that part of the website, and no one went, they misspelled Batman v Superman. That's not the title of the movie, that's something else. At best, I thought it was probably like a parody trailer or something. Right. You know how they bring out a bunch of those during the Super Bowl. But it got people really excited and watching the Super Bowl. Some people, I'm sure, saw the Super Bowl just to see if maybe they brought out a Batman v Superman trailer. There was nothing. None of that came out. I heard there was no Ant-Man trailer either. I don't think there was even a new Avengers trailer.
We slept through the Super Bowl if nobody's caught on yet. I definitely took a nap.
So none of that occurred. But something that did come out of this whole thing is that people are very hungry for any type of clip, any type of anything from Batman v Superman. And I felt like John from Twitter also and Facebook, he said it's just too early right now. Mm-hmm. We're over a year away from this movie releasing. And if anything, obviously we'll get something this year. Towards the end of the year, we'll at least get a trailer. But this early, it's, fucking spring 2015 when it's not even due till summer of next year.
Are you kidding? It's still winter.
There you go. It's still technically winter. Allergies haven't full on hit me yet, so it's definitely winter.
Some of our listeners are looking out their window like, it's fucking snowing, sir. This is not spring.
That's true. When do you think we will see a Batman v Superman trailer? Do you think it'll be as early as this summer? Some people are even saying that for Jupiter's Ascension, which actually released by now, obviously it wasn't even in there, but some people thought it would be because that movie was not getting as much publicity and it didn't seem like people were excited for it, so they felt like, hey, let's just put in this trailer and people will go see it.
Maybe this summer, but that's a stretch. That's a really far stretch because they still have a year from this summer. And to release anything, it could all get changed, and I don't think this summer. Maybe this fall.
Do you think they'll ever release that small teaser from Comic-Con? Oh, what about a Comic-Con? Do you think that maybe this year's Comic-Con?
Oh, yeah, probably.
Last year, they brought out that one of Batman turning on the bat signal, Superman using his X-ray vision to check him out.
See through his clothes, yeah. See what he was working with here. I approve.
What about that clip? Shouldn't they have released that by now?
But it's like more fun if they don't, because then people are like, where is it?
Yeah, I guess it's worked, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because we're still talking about it, and they don't even have to have it online.
I think they'll definitely have to show something at this year's San Diego Comic-Con. If anything, they'll show us maybe Aquaman, what he's going to look like in the movie, Jason Momoa, or Cyborg, some costume reveal like they did last year with Wonder Woman, and then the little Batman teaser. It was awesome. Very exciting times, and I can't wait for this year's San Diego Comic-Con, if anything, just to see more of that. Now we can move on forward to our comic book reviews. A quick reminder, we will have a panel at Omni Expo this year. And that will take place from May 22nd to the 24th at the Rosen Center Hotel in Orlando, Florida. And we also have our Audible recommendation of the week.
Yes, our recommendation this week is Adventures of Superman Volume 1.
Debuting on March 12, 1940, the exciting radio serial was an instant hit. Starring Clayton Bud Collier in the dual roles of Superman and Clark Kent, this initial 9-episode sequence tells the story of the destruction of Krypton and the Man of Steel's arrival on Earth.
This audiobook is free with your trial when you sign up at audibletrial.com/nerdupmedia.
Brokettes get a free audiobook download of their choice along with a free 30-day trial. Again, that's audibletrial.com/nerdupmedia.
And 50 Shades of Grey is on there, guys. Valentine's Day is coming up. Read the book before you see the movie.
Get it for free, costs you nothing, and it helps us out.
And now we can move into our comic book pull list of the week. It was a very, very small week.
We had 2 people call your pick of the week already, by the way.
None of you know me. You think you know me, but none of you know me.
The first book you review is going to be your pick of the week.
You don't know that. You don't know that. None of you know that. One week I might surprise you. Could be this week. It's not this week.
It's not this week.
But one week you're not gonna know me, so just stop. Just fine. Saga is forever my pick, forever. No, I'm not even gonna say that because one week I might surprise you.
Nope, it's locked in.
Just is this Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? My answer's locked in. I can't change it.
Forever your pick of the week.
Hi.
What is it?
Our first book is Saga number 25. This is written by Brian K. Vaughan with art and colors by Fiona Staples. And yes, it is my pick of the week. Do I need to go to, Saga Anonymous?
You do, I think.
Do I have a horrible addiction?
Possibly, because honestly, I didn't think this one was as good as last one's.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Not as good as number 24, I'm sorry.
It's still pretty good. So, we get a pretty big reveal, it's heartbreaking for me. We hear a lot from Hazel, who's actually legit talking now, which is pretty cool. And we still see Marco's ex-girlfriend is trying to save the will. Hazel is still kidnapped by TV Screen Face, and Marco is still working with Computer Face to try and save them. And it's heartwarming, and it's so sad, because there's going to be such a struggle for so long. Now I'm depressed. Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, this story did something different that Saga hadn't done before, in that they kind of gave you a spoiler of what was going to come. in the past they've told you this is when this breakup happened, and then it did, but it wasn't as bad as you thought. But now they're saying, like, I'm not going to see my dad for years, and this happened at a great cost, but that's for another time. And it's like, okay, so
apparently you haven't been paying attention to this series, because they've done that since the beginning.
They have, but some of, like I said earlier, some of that they've resolved, and it wasn't that big a deal. And now it seems like there are going to be, as the stakes grow, there are actually going to be some pretty bad permanent outcomes.
Agreed, but they've still... Hazel always has her moments like this where she goes, this is a story of how my parents separated. When they left some planet, she goes, and we wouldn't be back here for many years. She always kind of does stuff like that. But yes, this hit me right in the gut.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was, again, not my pick of the week. I don't know. I felt like it just moved a little bit slower than the other ones, even with the giant fucking Komodo dragon pissing on everyone.
On people. I don't know. I still feel it held up to the standards. We got more background to the different kind of worlds. We're introduced to some new characters who are all great and memorable. That, like, Snake Man with his spear. I was like, have Jason Momoa play him in the next movie. But I know that each of them is going to be amazing, and we're going to remember them for many more issues to come, even if we don't see them for another 6 months.
That was going to be the question I was going to ask, actually, when I was reading this book. If you thought they were maybe introducing too many characters, but obviously they're not.
Of course not. I still remember... Do you remember... So we have the two reporters, and then they went and met that random-ass, like, army lady. I still remember her. Like, she could show up tomorrow, and I know who she was.
You're like, oh, yeah, what's she been up
to? Big sun-faced lady on Horror Planet. I remember her, even though she's dead. She could show up.
Mm-hmm. The spider lady came back.
Yeah.
It was Lady Friend.
Like, oh, man, she was creepy. But any character that we have seen in the last 2 years, because we're up to number... It's more than 2 years. It's been like 3 years. Any character they bring back, I will remember them. And that's why it's always my pick of the week. I'm not going to jump on my soapbox this month, but y'all know what I got to say.
Now, that was it for our indie books. We got a Marvel book here, The Unbeatable Squirrel Girl #2, written by Ryan North, art by Erica Henderson, and colors by Rico Renzi. We finished in issue #1 with Galactus coming to Earth.
Galactus.
No one could stop him because all the squirrels from the space squirrels and the Earth squirrels all communicated together. It's awesome. Don't shake your head. I loved it.
I'm shaking my head because it's a cute book. As long as they don't try to fit it too much into the normal Marvel stuff, it works well.
And the only one that can stop Galactus is Squirrel Girl. And I guess at some point... they will fight. I saw a future solicitation, and this was when they were actually still marketing this comic, of Galactus and everyone else like knocked out around her, and she's just taking the selfie. And she describes that moment in this comic, like, we're going to go out there, we're going to kick his ass, and I'm going to take a selfie on his fucking body. And I'm like, I really hope that happens. I hope she fucking knees Galactus in the chin, and somehow he's got a glass jaw, and that's what destroys him. Yeah, it's still a fun book. There's a romantic interest here, romantic story that we saw start in the first issue. The little notes at the bottom, we always have such great things to say about that. And I saw one of the letters in the back. They're like, hey, can you guys continue those note things? And I was like, can I answer this letter? Because I feel like Kelli and I are experts on the little note things. We've seen this since Adventure Time. Yes, young reader, they will continue. All right, continue, Ryan North.
No worries, lad.
Answer a real letter.
Yes, we will definitely see the notes continue. They're so much fun. This book is a lot of fun. I don't know. It's too late for me.
Really?
Yes, I feel her teeth bother me too.
Well, she's a squirrel. That's Squirrel Girl.
I get that, but her teeth bother me. And I feel like her love interest would like her more if she didn't have those teeth.
It's such a terrible thing to say.
It's the truth. That's all that I was thinking when he's flirting with her. I'm like, how can he see past those teeth?
Because he likes her for who she is, Kelli.
Well,
and she's got the great legs, according to Squirrel Girl.
That's true, and a great butt.
Yep, she said that in the first issue, too.
Yes, she did.
Something that I actually did read the letters this time. It's called Letters from Nuts, is what the column is called. And a lot of readers are actually very appreciative of the fact that she's not this sexualized character. They could have easily made... redesigned her and I don't know how they could have done it. Just done this typical comic book thing. But instead, she's, just a regular character. She's got these superpowers and she's funny. Instead, they're focusing on who she is, how she acts around her friends, all these other characters around her, which I do care about. They're not just there for comedic relief. They're all a lot of fun. They're fresh. They're fun. It's obviously for younger readers. That's who this book is aimed at, and I think it succeeds so well at it. And it is my pick of the week, The Unbeatable Squirrel Girl #2.
Interesting. Not as good as Saga, but that's okay. You'll get there someday.
DC books. We've got 2 of them.
Detective Comics #39. This is written by Francis Manipool and Brian Buccellato with art and colors by Francis Manipool.
Mad Hatter doesn't often... I felt like in the New 52 he hasn't gotten the background treatment that he sort of deserves. We saw how he treated Alice in one of the arcs. I think it was in Actually, it was in The Dark Knight, in which he was just really creepy. He was fucking with people in terms of like physically manipulating their bodies and actually harming them to the point where you're like, these people are going to die from infections, from him cutting them up and him pulling out their eyeballs. Just made him into a really dark fucking character. And I felt like Detective Comics, at least this run here, we learn much more about that character in the single issue than we do in that whole arc in The Dark Knight. And he's not even the main villain. Anarchy is. And at the same time, Anarchy is going to be a part of that background. So they're reinventing the character of Anarchy and making him really interesting, which is something that has been needed for a character like that, a character that did debut, I want to say, in the early 80s. And I feel like they're succeeding at it. I care about Anarchy. I care about the Mad Hatter now. I
agree. I love that they're tying the 2 of them together. My first experience with Anarchy was the Batman animated that we got, last year?
Yes.
Year before? That was my first experience, and I was just like, really, sir? Like, you have no... I don't buy what you're saying.
He's just like a lesser Batman.
Right. Because of this issue, I can now buy into what he's saying. Because he has a reason behind all this madness that he's trying to get Gotham to go into and succeeding at. These Gothamites, they're cray-cray. Like, I would not live there. I don't know why people still live there.
Yeah. Now, here's one change that I didn't agree with, and it's a minor spoiler for the story if you are reading Detective Comics, is that the masks are actually manipulating them as well. They're using the tech from the Mad Hatter stuff. Instead of it being Anarchy is actually creating a movement through his persuasiveness, through him talking about how they must, bring down the rich and they have to equalize everything because institutions are bad for the general population. It just holds up an elite population. Instead, it's okay, so he sends out the masks to these people who are desperate and they put it on and then they're controlled. So it's almost like they're not guilty of what they're doing. It's more the technology behind it. And I felt like it would have made Anarchy into such a more powerful character if he really was that manipulative. If they could actually have some of the lasting effects from this movement leak into the next story arc. I felt that would have been really awesome.
That would be cool, but to the degree that all this madness is happening, everybody would have to be in jail after this.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
So, unless you completely ignore all of it and just move forward, you're going to have all of Gotham in jail, and then you can't really have a story after that. You
can just chalk it up to comic books. If you remember, okay, so this is the 3rd story now that I can think of in the current continuity right now in comics of Gothamites going insane and running around.
Yes.
We got this one of Anarchy putting on the masks, and they have these superhero masks for people that are actually resisting that movement, and then you've got the bad ones, which are the Anarchy ones.
Those people, they draw on their own masks.
Right.
So those resisting the movement are choosing to,
And then you have that in this issue, in this series, and then you have the Joker people in the main Batman series, so Gotham's going crazy on that end. And then you also have the Justice League, in which people have superpowers and they're destroying each other. So it's like, can we have something a little... Can editorial get with all of these and be like, move your story back a couple of months? We can't just have all of these be stories about everyone just going insane and destroying the city from within itself. I felt like, why is Gotham again destroying itself? Oh, this time it's Anarchy? Like, I don't know. It was a little much.
In Year Zero, weren't they all destroying themselves too?
Yeah. Same thing happens.
This just always happens.
Oh, Gotham. So it's just a minor thing, but it's a really fun story, and I feel like Detective Comics, him working with Bullock is very good. I hope that continues, and I've said it before, but it now actually feels like a detective story.
Exactly, and I hope in the next issue, I would even like to see a whole issue of just Anarchy and Mad Hatter's background, and how this all started, and how it got to this point with the two of them. I think that would be great.
That would be, and I hope we do. Was Mad Hatter calling Anarchy Alice, or is he just seeing Alice everywhere?
The masks are Alice's general face shape.
Oh.
So when Jarvis looks at the blank mask, he sees Alice.
That's even cooler now. Now I like this comic way more.
So Anarchy designed all the masks to look like Alice just to fuck with Jarvis.
How cool is Anarchy now?
I know. That's why I said I like him so much more. You
so
missed
awesome.
it. Because they showed Alice's face like next to the mask like 14 times.
Mm-hmm. All right, then.
I guess I'm just the better comic book reader.
I guess so. I was like, who the hell's that? And then I kept reading. Where's Batman?
Yes.
Awesome. So if you want to read about the best version of Anarchy thus far, pick up this arc of Detective Comics. It is a lot of fun, and I hope the team stays on it for a long time to come. Last book this week is Grayson #7. It's written by Tim Seeley and Tom King, with art by Stephen Mooney and colors by Jeremy Cox.
This was, I don't know, they stopped the bad guy.
It's a step down from the last couple of issues they've been doing.
I
don't exactly know what happened. I don't know if they can't end the story, like if they had a little trouble ending it. I don't know, but I just suddenly, the Midnighter was kind of, I didn't care that he was there. Like, I understand they had to redeem him in the eyes of the readers because he is actually a good character, and they'll obviously use him in the future. It can't just be someone that Grayson kills or puts away or whatever. But I felt like they didn't really do much with him, and he didn't need to be in the story.
Agreed. Also, I don't know if there's a comic that goes along with this, or there's some previous background to Spiral, but I feel like they're not explaining these organizations that they're trying to take down. So we get to the big reveal, and we find out who this Fist of Cain is or whatever, and then there's a brain that I didn't know what was happening or that it would even be there, and they explained what it did, but not really what the organization was trying to do. And then that one lady was involved somehow. I didn't get it.
I understand what it was. It's supposed to be like this, the answer to the conspiracy theory. Like, this is that weapon that would, if you were to magnify it to a grander scale, you can have it, at any country and have the people tear themselves apart, either at the scale that they did here, in which they're actually, killing one another.
Just throw it in Gotham.
Yeah. They're like, Gotham's tearing itself apart, and they're like, we haven't even thrown that weapon in there yet. What's going on? This is just what happens every other arc. But that's what this is. It's kind of like the answer to that, where he puts an end to it, and some under the wrong hands, they use it as this shitty weapon, but it just wasn't substantial for the entire arc.
Right. I get it. I feel that this would be a stronger story if they left more of the supernatural stuff out of it. Go ahead and have Spiral where they can scramble your brain and all this technology, but make it a legit spy story.
And to answer your earlier question about whether they talked about Spiral earlier, I don't recall them ever being mentioned before this,
because
except
it's
for
Spiral.
Well, yeah, it's a secret organization. But Batman at the end of Forever Evil told Grayson, "Hey, I need you to keep an eye on this organization, and this is where I'm sending you," and that was it. And then we've been reading Grayson, and he's just been working for them, and he's an agent, and he's been reporting back to Batman, telling him like, "Hey, this is what they're doing. This is how we're going to put an end to them." But I don't know. I completely agree with you. This is an organization we don't care about, that they haven't explained enough of, and it's hurting the comic.
Agreed. If I had to have a pass, it would probably be Grayson #7.
Grayson #7 is my pass of the week. Yes. I'm going to give it another issue, see how it goes, and...
See, the problem is they give us issues like this, and then they give us that one with the baby in the desert, which was so good. And then we get this again. It's just, be consistent, or just stick to one-shots if that's all that you guys can pull off.
Right. Like, we know Nightwing is going to come back. Eventually, it's too popular of a character, and we knew this was just a temporary thing. But if you've got your story to tell, like, really focus and tighten it up. And yeah, they're very inconsistent.
Maybe they don't understand the organization either. But the thing is, now they're trying to throw, I don't know if you remember Spider from the last issue. They're trying to throw a spider into the mix too, and I don't understand them. I don't like spiders. That's all I know.
I just hope it ends with Grayson's like, okay, we need to take down Spyro. Hey, Batman.
Spyro, the dragon?
Spyro, sorry. And Batman has to come and help out Grayson in taking down this organization. I think that would be a great ending to the comic book. Like a great way to wrap it all up. And then he can, I don't know, Batman could hand him his Nightwing mask or something like Gotham needs you again or whatever. You know, I think that'd be like whatever ending to bring back Nightwing, fine. But they do need to kind of step it up a little bit and be more consistent with their storytelling.
Right. Agreed.
And then we'll actually do it for the podcast this week. Definitely a shorter one than the past couple. But I felt like we covered some pretty good topics this week. As always, if you ever want to submit your own question or if you want to hear us talk about something, maybe it's a news story that broke that maybe we just didn't touch up on, you can always contact us through Twitter, twitter.com/TheReasonsI'mBroke or @ReasonsI'mBroke, or through Facebook.
If you guys also head over to nerdupmedia.com, you can click on The Reasons I'm Broke, see everywhere that you can listen to us or watch us. We have some unboxings on YouTube. You can also check out all of our brother and sister podcasts as well.
Yeah, while you're there, also check out our partners. Big thanks to Florida Geek Scene for hosting the podcast on their website, to Omni Expo for helping all of us out at Nerd Up Media, all of us that being the other podcasts like Those Two Jerks, the Let's Play like the Lazy Gaming Guys, and other comic book reviews like the Read Pile, all right here on the Nerd Up Media Network. So once again, big thanks to Omni Expo for helping us all out. We're very excited for the panel.
And while you're there, you can also check out our shop where you can purchase a Nerd Up Media t-shirt.
$16.99 includes the shipping, the shirt, the materials, everything. It's a flat rate of $16.99 donation. You get to pick out your shirt in different sizes for both men and women.
We have a variety of different colors as well with a logo that complements the color of the shirt.
They come in gray, black, red, and blue, and it helps us out. If you find that you don't have money, you're broke just like we are, many reasons everyone is broke, just leave us a like, a review, comment, whatever. All of that little bit of exposure helps other people find us, helps new brokettes join the show. And again, a big thanks. We've had a big jump in downloads for the past couple of weeks and a lot of listeners. So thank you to all the new listeners. Hopefully you're enjoying the show, and please help spread the word.
And that will do it for our podcast this week. Thank you guys so much for listening. I'm Kelly.
And I'm Daniel.
We'll see you next week.